Sometimes the heaviest part of a long day is not the work itself. It is the moment after, when nothing dramatic is happening anymore. At 5:35 in the morning, the bus station is still half asleep. The driver is standing by the side compartment, moving sacks and bags a little slower than usual, as if taking longer might keep the day from ending too clearly. His hand still feels wrapped around the steering wheel, even after the engine is off. Why can a normal moment feel so hard to explain? What you may be feeling is the quiet weight that comes after holding yourself together for too long. In this video, I'll talk about why that kind of heaviness can show up, why it can feel confusing, and 1 or 2 small ways to meet it without turning it into a bigger story. This kind of tired is not only about being sleepy. It is when your body has been doing one thing for hours, but your mind has been doing 5 other things at the same time. It is the strange feeling of arriving somewhere, while part of you still feels stuck on the road. One common reason is that long physical effort can hide emotional effort inside it. A 10-hour drive looks simple from the outside: hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, stops, passengers, traffic, schedules. But inside that simple shape, there is constant attention, small corrections, small risks, and the quiet pressure of carrying people safely from one place to another. So later, when the driver starts unloading bags at the station, the work looks almost over, but his body still acts like the day is asking for more. Sometimes, it comes from the way normal responsibility leaves almost no room for being seen. The driver may spend all night watching the road, listening for the engine, feeling the bus lean into turns, and checking mirrors without anyone noticing each tiny act. People step off, grab their bags, thank him quickly or say nothing at all, and move toward their own mornings. That can leave a strange kind of emptiness, because the thing that took everything from him becomes just another trip to everyone else. Over time, another layer shows up when the body gets used as a place to store what the mind has not had time to name. The sting in the palms, the heavy lower back, the smell of iron dust, cement, and sweat on a damp shirt all become part of the feeling. It may not arrive as a big emotional wave, it may arrive as a slow pause beside a luggage door, while the station lights hum and the sky turns pale. And because nothing terrible is happening, the heaviness can feel even harder to explain. It is 5:35 at the bus station, and the work site has gone quiet somewhere behind him. The machines are off now, but his ears still remember them. That is the odd part. Silence does not always feel peaceful right away. Sometimes silence feels like the sound that comes after being surrounded by noise for too long. He bends down to pull out one more bag. The metal handle of the compartment is cold, and his fingers feel rough against it. A passenger is waiting nearby, shifting from one foot to the other. Nothing in the scene looks dramatic. There is no argument. No emergency. No single moment that explains why his shoulders feel like they are carrying the whole road. But he slows down anyway. Not because he wants to be difficult. Not because he has forgotten what he is doing. He slows down because this small task is the last piece of the trip. As long as there is still one bag left to move, there is still a tiny space before the next part of life begins. Maybe before going home to a quiet room. Maybe before another job. Maybe before facing the plain fact that his body is worn out and no one can really see how far the day went through him. If you've been there, you're not strange. You might know someone who lives like this. Someone who keeps moving because moving is familiar, then feels almost lost when there is finally a reason to stop. This is what the heavy steering wheel can mean after a long drive. It is not only the wheel. It is the responsibility that stayed in the hands. It is the road still living in the wrists. It is the feeling of being done, but not feeling released. A small thing that can help in a moment like this is naming the tired in plain words. Not making it grand. Not turning it into a speech. Just something simple, almost quiet: my body is still on the road. Or, the work is over, but I haven't caught up yet. A sentence like that gives the feeling a place to land. It separates the heaviness from confusion. You may still feel tired, but the tired has a shape now. There may also be a small pause between finishing and moving on. Maybe he closes the luggage door and keeps his hand there for a second. Maybe he notices the cool metal, the smell of morning coffee from a stall nearby, the first bus horn from another lane. Maybe he lets the next breath be only a breath, not a plan. This works because the body often returns slowly. It may not follow the clock. It may not understand that the trip ended the moment the engine stopped. And there's something else here that is easy to miss. Sometimes the hardest part is not the weight itself. It is how ordinary everything looks while you are carrying it. A person can look calm while feeling worn thin. A driver can answer a passenger, count bags, wipe his hands on his pants, and still feel like the night is sitting on his back. A worker can come home covered in dust and still act normal at the table. A parent can drive through dark roads, keep everyone safe, and later sit in a parked car because the quiet inside the house feels like one more thing to enter. This is for people who keep moving even when their body has already arrived. If this has been your kind of tired, it may not mean something is wrong with you. It may mean the day took up more space than anyone around you could measure. The steering wheel gets released, the bags get unloaded, the station wakes up, and still, the body may ask for a little more time. Some feelings do not ask to be solved. They ask to be noticed before the next road begins.